Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and Doom Patrol, Season 1, Episode 11, Francis Patrol. I was sitting here wondering the entire time, like since last week when I saw that it was going to be called Francis Patrol, I'm like, what the heck is Francis? What the hell are they talking about? So, interesting that it's the freaking gator. And I'm saying, if that gator didn't have that watch inside of it, it would have made a pretty interesting addition to the freaking Doom Patrol. That and the cockroach. I'm just saying, all right? I'm just saying, the donkey is no more, so F the donkey. But they did a lot in this episode for it being so toned down, you know? And it was really cool. It's good to see that, what's his name? Larry actually got to finally get a good idea. Still doesn't know what that thing is inside of it, but it's okay. Now it's clearly, definitely, 100% not John. You know what I'm saying? His boyfriend from back in the day. By the way, if I look really scraggly and whatnot, yeah, I haven't showered. I haven't changed since last night. The whole Avengers Infinity War thing. So yeah, I'm still I'm still all marveled out. So little DC is a good thing for the soul right now. That's facts. What do you call it? Seeing where do I go? Where do I go? Let's just do Larry. We finally get a good explanation, like, and what a simple explanation it is. Instead of rank has its privileges, radiation has its perks. As far as him staying young, you know, you don't have an epidermis anymore, but hey, you at least you're really strong and you're healthy and you're still young-ish. Lost his wife back in the day. John didn't die at the end. He just went to sleep at the end. So we could revisit him, you know, I suppose. But yeah, it's good that he at least got some closure. I guess, like, all these guys, that's the thing about the Doom Patrol. They've all got their psychosis, every single one, and that's something that was played on for a while. Everybody thinks that, oh, Crazy Jane, she's the one with all the mental problems. Newsflash, they've all got mental problems. That's what makes them all so amazing. It took forever for Rita Farr to finally be able to get that control. Look, how many times was she supposed to have, had her face sink and her leg get, heavy, right? Didn't happen once because she's finally evolving, because this is this Doom Patrol, this modern version of the Doom Patrol, which we're not the Doom Patrol. The idea that all of these misfits are hanging out with each other and just being with each other and trying to work themselves out. And without the chief on top of that, without that guiding force, they've got to take control of their own lives now. The best thing that could have happened to them was to have the chief kidnapped, you know? This is an amazing TV series. Man, if only what is it? Would it be the Oscars for TV shows, or the Grammys? I think, right? Grammys, whatever the hell they are. Who cares? Could be the Hugos for all I know. It's a shame that they're all a bunch of stuck-up bastards and they don't enjoy the idea of comic book movies. I mean, they barely enjoy sci-fi, right? It's funny. There's the uber popular stuff, and there's stuff that these stupid old people who don't represent the diversity and the youth of America today, right? So these are the knuckleheads who are going to determine, well, these guys should definitely get... No, how about what everybody's watching, or at least what everybody'd like to watch if DC doesn't decide to shut down, because they haven't permeated the greater world yet. I'm not going to get into that right now. But, yeah, Cliff being able to reclaim that watch for his daughter. It's a shame that he chickened out at the end, but I guess, hey, it leaves opportunity for a story in the future, right? We finally got to see his daughter. I like that, she was pretty. God, she was pretty. But she wasn't like supermodel-ish. She was, in Arabic, we say adi. It's a nicer way of saying normal. You know what I'm saying? She was perfectly, beautifully normal. And that is a huge freaking relief. You know what I'm saying? We get that Rita Farr has to look like a model. She was a model. She was an actress. You know what I'm saying? And she subconsciously does have a lot of control over herself. And therefore the way that she looks. If only we all had that ability to get, gene deep. But she looked perfectly average. She looked like you. She looked like me. She looked like us. And that's cool that this show does stuff like that. I love that this show does stuff like that. It doesn't feel the need to to bow to the hype of no, this is what the ideal person is supposed to look like. F the ideal person, man. Anyway, so what else was... Oh, Vic losing control of Grid and actually removing Grid from him. I wonder if he might need Grid a little bit more now that he's been captured by the ant farm. That's not a good thing. Man, you know, if anything, this will give him a little insider information as to what's up with the chief, because I have a distinct feeling that's what's going to wind up happening. They're going to explain to him what the chief actually is, what he's done, some of the bad things that he's done. But yeah, for now, this episode, however, had the first thing that I could genuinely complain about. That's right, it took 11 episodes deep for me to finally find something to complain about. Was anybody else completely turned off by the scene where he's digging into himself? That little Terminator, the first Terminator movie, the 1984-85 Terminator movie. Anybody else completely turned off by that? Oh no, it wasn't gross or anything. It's like, psh, whatever. But every time that they went off, off of his face, they'd have somebody, I don't know who it was. I don't think that was the actor playing Vic Stone. I don't think that was this guy up here. I don't think that was him at all, Cyborg. I think it was somebody else trying to replicate his voice in some way. Like, he kept on doing the thing, and when they show it, like, oh, and it's like, it doesn't even sound real. It's just somebody going, ooh, you didn't put any heart into that, man. And it's only when he's up, but then of course when you flash back to his face, he's just like, this is interesting. Oh, what's going on? What is all this stuff? The only emotion you saw was at the end when he was like, oh man. So like his face totally did not match with those, could you even call them sound effects that were thrown in afterwards? Why did they decide to put that in there? Who the hell is the editor or director, like whatever, whoever made that decision? Effing wrong decision. Please listen to the people around you when they say, hey, boss, putting this stuff in there really detracts from the show. This was stupid. Like, that was horrible. And once they actually did it when it was on his face, when he was clearly not making a noise, and they're just like, oh, this one looks good enough. Add a little, ooh. Did they take that off of a bad porn movie? Because that's what it sounded like to me. That was terrible, horrible decision making. Somebody needs to go back to freaking whatever school, because whoever decided to put that in, you screwed up, man. This is like a WWE scene. You know what I'm saying? Something happens, and somebody screams out, "You can't wrestle," or sometimes somebody messes up on somebody gives a botchamania move, and all of a sudden, you effed up. You effed up. I was practically screaming that. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all effed up. What are you doing there? And it was persistent. It was like throughout the whole scene. I'm like, please, just turn off the sound. Turn off the sound. It pulled me out of the episode. It tore me from the moment. And it's just, that was not cool. Nah, man, what were you thinking about? You done the scene dirty by doing that. We did hear about production dropping, them cutting funding for production and pulling it out of post-production towards the end of the series. I believe there are still supposed to be 15 full episodes of this, but they did cut funding for the post-production towards the end of this the series, just like what they claimed that they did for Swamp Thing also, which Swamp Thing. So that's kind of messed up. Just saying, that's a little bit messed up. Yeah, just to speak a little bit about Swamp Thing, they cut post-production. So it could still be good. It depends on how much of post-production was cut. Are they going to start adding in some little sound effects, like the porn sound effects like this? But it bothers me that they didn't address those rumors immediately. The fact that they didn't jump to address those rumors. Whoa. We cut a little bit of post-production because it was fine, or make up some other kind of damage control, excuse. But they went into week damage control, and they're just like, hey, listen, they're saying that we screwed up. That's going to affect how many people get the subscription service, in America, because it's not really available anyplace else. So them turning around and just, they basically, that they just went, I don't know anything behind the scenes, but that they just went straight up and they're like, hey man, check this out. What do you say? You just put together a real quick clip. Well, we don't have anything for production right now. Remember, you cut production. Listen, just put together a quick little thing of him coming out of the swamp. Maybe, you know what? I wouldn't even be surprised if that was a part of the opening credits for it. Doubtful, but yeah. They literally just put the freaking guy in the rubber suit just up to here and then just have him come out the swamp. Focus in and then just have him come out the swamp. Just shut up and do it. Just shut up and do it. Shoot in reverse if you got it. Just do it. It was terrible. That was terrible. That's what they released quickly, as opposed to just addressing the rumors, which they should have addressed the rumors. But again, this is the problem when you have a bunch of old people, and that's got to be what it is. In my head, that's got to be what it is. I feel as someone younger, more hip, would have known better than this. Would have known you need to actually address it, because social media, all this stuff, it gets out there. And if you don't understand, I don't even have the greatest understanding of freaking social media. And these guys, they've got no clue. They don't even know that, Instagram and Twitter exists. What are you talking about? I looked on Facebook and nobody said. On my MySpace page, nothing was said. I don't know what you're talking about. I was looking in the old AOL forums and I didn't see a single person talking about it. Remember the AOL forums? So, yeah, man. God. These guys are going back to the day when you used to have to wait 3 months for your letter to hopefully be published in the back of a comic book to talk about 3-4 issues ago. I mean, come on, man. Come on, with the times, man. With the times. Get hip. Oh, oh. The time. Greatest band ever? Jane Silent Bob. Shut up. So, yeah, Oh, and then when they go and they release this other thing. Oh, the cinematography on these things look good, but it's also it's the production. It's what they choose to show you. It's not the finished product. They didn't even have anybody speaking. It's just like don't, whatever with the music and what the cinematographic music and whatnot. It wouldn't be cinematographic. It would be cinema audio graphic. Anyway, they didn't actually have anything of substance to show. All that stuff was probably just stuff from the first episode, which of course they're going to make the first episode as good as they can, because that's going to be the thing where they put out the free trial, you get to watch the first episode, you're like, oh yeah, I'm definitely subscribing. Boom, 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 boom. If you're in America. They don't have subscriptions for anybody else. Anyway, disappointed in the future of the DC streaming app, especially since no spoilers, but if you did see Avengers Endgame, they set up the 2 shows that are going to be coming out. Which 2 shows? Go and check out my spoiler review if you're interested. They set up the 2 TV series that are coming to the Disney Plus streaming app service thing. And DC is cutting production in the early stages of their not readily available DC streaming app. Do you remember back in the day when we used to say that Marvel was dropping the ball because their animated shows weren't as good as the DC animated shows, and DC didn't have a whole lot of good Superman out, but we ignored that because they had amazing Batman out. All the Batman movies that they were putting out, and that they had put out, and the Richard Donner Superman, and the DC animated universe, the DC TV series, all that stuff was so much better. We're like, Marvel's dropping the ball, man. What happened? Complete reversal. Role reversal. Hopefully they get their act together. We kind of need them to get their act together. Doom Patrol's a great way to go. Aquaman and Shazam are great ways to go. So, yeah. Anyway, guys, that's it for me. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.